watched his younger brother fall 300 feet, and he lived. People think survival is lucky, but sometimes it feels like a sentence. For 2 years, he didn't sleep peacefully. Every night, he felt the rope burning in his hands again. He heard the ice crack. He heard the scream. And then, nothing. That silence stayed with him longer than the sound ever did. He told me once, the worst part wasn't the fall. It was the moment after, when I realized I was still here. His name was Michael. Strong man, quiet voice. But when he looked at the mountains, his eyes carried something heavy, not fear, regret. He said to me one evening, I felt his weight disappear from the rope. It was there, and then it wasn't. He doesn't remember screaming. He only remembers standing there, alone, and breathing. Breathing felt wrong to him, like he had taken something that belonged to someone else. After that day, he stopped climbing, stopped meeting friends, stopped answering calls. He wasn't living, he was existing. And every morning he woke up with the same question: why him and not me? He didn't come to Pakistan to find peace. He came to stand in front of the same kind of mountains and see if they would finally judge him. When he stepped onto the wooden bridge, it wasn't the height that froze him. It was memory. His hands tightened around the rope. His breathing became uneven. The river below sounded like that day, loud, unstoppable. He whispered, I'm losing him again. I told him he was safe, but he shook his head gently. That's what I thought last time. He stood there, caught between past and present. Then slowly, he took one step, not because he wasn't afraid, but because he was tired of being controlled by fear. When he reached the other side, he didn't smile. He just stood still, as if he had moved forward in more ways than one. The storm came without warning. Wind, snow, cold hitting our faces. The trail became dangerous, and then he slipped. For 1 second, I saw his body tilt toward the valley. I grabbed him, pulled him back. He wasn't injured, but something inside him broke open. He stared down into the white emptiness and quietly said, I saw him again. The storm was loud, but his voice was louder. Why did he die, and not me? There was no anger in his tone, only exhaustion. 2 years of holding that question inside. The mountains didn't answer. They never do. We sat behind a rock for shelter, snow falling around us. He said something I will never forget. I've been trying to punish myself because I don't know how to forgive myself. His voice cracked slightly, not dramatic, just tired, very tired. In the village, children laughed in a house with no electricity. A thin blanket, cold air entering through the walls. Still, they laughed. Michael watched them for a long time. Later he asked, they have so little. Why do they seem lighter than me? I told him, because they share their pain. That night, he didn't talk much, but the next morning, he gave me an envelope, quietly. Help them, he said. Don't tell them it's from me. For the first time in 2 years, he wasn't thinking about the fall. He was thinking about someone else. And that small shift changed everything. On his last evening, we sat by the river. The mountains were glowing in sunset light. He held a small photo of his brother. His fingers trembled slightly, not from cold, from memory. For a long time, he just looked at the picture. Then he placed it under a flat stone near the water, not to leave him behind, but to stop carrying him like a weight. He whispered, "I thought if I stopped hurting, it meant I didn't love him. Maybe living fully is how I love him now." There were tears in his eyes, but they were different. Not drowning tears, releasing tears. That night, he slept, and for the first time, he didn't wake up to the sound of falling. 1 year later, he returned. This time, not with guilt, but with purpose. He started a small education fund in his brother's name for children in that village. He could not change the day of the fall, but he could change what came after. Some mountains are made of rock. Some are made of memory. If you are carrying something heavy, if you wake up replaying something you cannot change, maybe the climb is not outside. Maybe it's inside. And maybe you are not weak for surviving. Maybe you are still here for a reason.